Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something huge, a question that I think causes so much frustration, maybe arguments, definitely some silent eye rolls in relationships. It's that question: how do I get someone I care about to, actually change? We all know this feeling, right? Wanting your partner to maybe get a bit healthier, or a friend to finally stick to that budget, maybe a relative to stop some habit that's worrying you. And you've probably tried the usual things: the pleading, the pressure. Maybe you even passive aggressively brought them a gym membership. Yeah, we know how that goes. It usually just leads straight to this frustrating deadlock. So that's why we're doing this deep dive. We've actually gathered clinical research, some neuroscience findings too, and they all point to one thing: that standard approach, using pressure. It's basically guaranteed to fail. You really can't make someone change. But, and this is the good news, we're going to explore how you can influence them powerfully.
Exactly. Influence, not force. That's really the heart of it today. When we pressure people, we're actually fighting against a fundamental human need. The research is just crystal clear on this. People only change when they feel like it deep down. And the second they sense that outside pressure, boom, resistance kicks in. Resentment builds. You actually create distance. Why does that happen? Well, you're essentially threatening their sense of agency, that deep-seated need we all have to feel like we're in the driver's seat of our own lives. The moment someone feels pushed or coerced, the whole conflict shifts. It stops being about, say, their health or their spending, and it just becomes this toxic tug of war over who's in control.
Okay, let's unpack that power struggle a bit, because it sounds familiar. Let's use that classic example our sources mention. The wife who's worried about her husband's health. She means well, she loves him, she's genuinely concerned, but she keeps pushing, right? Buys the expensive Peloton, maybe clears out all the snacks from the pantry, signs them both up for a 5K they never discussed.
All actions coming from a good place.
Right. But the result isn't him suddenly getting healthy. It's just this stalemate. She's annoyed. He's sneaking chips after dinner, and he's just plain annoyed that she's nagging him again. It's miserable for both of them.
And that right there, that's the paradox. Her intentions, totally good. But the method, the pressure, it gets the absolute worst outcome. Because think about it from his side. When she pushes, his sort of hardwired survival instinct kicks in. He pushes back. It's about defending his autonomy.
So it stops being about his heart health.
Exactly. It becomes about control. As long as he sort of ignores the Peloton, eats the chips, whatever it is, he feels like he's maintaining control over his own choices. If he gives in, if he does what she says because she said it, it feels like losing a part of himself, his agency. And this fight over control just locks everything down. Change becomes impossible in that dynamic.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so if pressure backfires because of this fundamental need for control, what about the change itself? Why is it so incredibly hard for people to change, even when they kind of know they should? We often just jump to, oh, they're just lazy or they lack motivation.
Right. And that assumption, that's where the science really gives us some answers. The first big truth we need to get our heads around is that motivation has to come from within. Our sources, particularly the clinical ones, define motivation really simply. You feel like doing something. That's it. So if someone isn't motivated, it just means they don't feel like doing it. And you can't perform mind control to make them feel like it.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow sometimes.
It is. And let's be real, if change was easy or fun, we'd all be, ripped millionaires already. But change usually involves pain, right? Waking up early sucks sometimes. Cutting out foods you love is hard. Starting something new, like a job search or budgeting, involves facing the risk of failure. It's uncomfortable.
Okay, which leads perfectly into the second point, something Dr. K from Healthy Gamer often talks about. He calls it the pleasure principle. Sounds simple, but...
It is simple but profound. We are fundamentally wired as humans to seek immediate pleasure and avoid immediate pain. It's a survival thing.
Right. So back to the husband example.
Yeah. When he's on the couch feels good now, the chicks taste good now, the video game is engaging now, thinking about the treadmill. That conjures up feelings of effort, sweat, maybe soreness later. That's immediate pain, or at least discomfort.
So the brain's default is just take the easy, pleasurable path.
Pretty much. So for change to actually happen, the neuroscience shows us that person has to internally override that impulse. They have to find a way inside their own head to say, okay, this is going to be uncomfortable at first, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
That push has to come from them. You can't provide that internal override for someone else.
Okay, and what if you try? What if you try threats or ultimatums? If you don't stop X, then Y. That seems like it should work.
But that runs smack into the third big truth, this one from behavioral neuroscience. Dr. Tali Sharif's work specifically. It's this fascinating, maybe slightly infuriating finding. We all tend to believe we're the exception to the rule.
The optimism bias, right? Like
Well,
the warning labels on cigarettes are for other people. My husband thinks he won't be the one to have a heart attack. My friend thinks vaping won't hurt them.
Exactly that. We have this baked-in bias. But here's the real kicker, the part that makes pressure totally futile. Brain scans literally show that when someone is hearing negative information aimed at changing their behavior, threats, warnings, ultimatums, even just like a really judgmental sigh,
Yeah.
the part of their brain that processes that negative input, it kind of shuts down. It literally tunes it out.
Wow. So you're not just wasting your breath. You're talking to a brain that's actively, neurologically not listening to the negative stuff.
You got it. Pressure, negativity, threats. They are, neurologically speaking, a dead end for influencing change.
Okay, so this is crucial. We have to stop fighting basic human wiring. We need to work with it. Which brings us to the first really big shift in approach. And this one might feel hard for listeners who are really worried about someone. It's the idea of let them.
Yeah,
It sounds counterintuitive, but the research suggests the most loving and actually the most effective first step is to just stop the pressure completely.
Yeah.
Accept them as they are right now.
That acceptance is key, because what does it do? It immediately removes the conflict over control. They don't need to push back against you anymore because you're not pushing. That creates the foundation for, well, just a healthier relationship overall. And it's only after you really embrace let them that you can effectively move to let me, which is where influence starts.
Okay, hold on. I have to voice what I think a listener might be thinking right now. If I just let him be, aren't I just giving up? Am I enabling the problem? Am I just being passive while he, heads towards disaster?
That's a really important question. And the distinction is critical. It's not about passive surrender. It's an active shift in your role. You're moving from being the controller, the pusher, to being an influencer. And that's where Dr. Sharif's work on social contagion comes in again. It's powerful stuff.
Social contagion, like catching a yawn.
Sort of. But for behavior, we are incredibly influenced by the people around us. Especially people we like and respect. We subconsciously mirror and adopt behaviors we see. So if that husband sees his wife consistently going for, say, a lunchtime walk, and she comes back looking genuinely refreshed, happier, maybe less stressed, over time he might start to subconsciously think, maybe that would feel good. He starts craving that positive outcome he sees in her.
Okay, so the actionable step here isn't nagging, it's modeling.
Yes, model the behavior you want to see. But here's the absolutely crucial part. You have to make it look easy, or at least positive and rewarding. Make it look fun, pleasurable even.
Right, so complaining about how sore you are after the gym, probably not effective modeling.
Definitely not. Or, telling your partner they need to eat healthier while you're enthusiastically describing the amazing donut you just had. That sends a mixed message, to say the least. The modeling has to be consistent and authentic.
I like this idea of it being almost sneaky. Like you're subtly inspiring them, planting a seed. The goal really is for them to eventually adopt the behavior and feel like it was totally their idea all along.
That's the sweet spot, because then their agency is intact. They chose it.
But we need to be honest here.
Yeah.
This takes time. A lot of time, potentially.
Oh, absolutely. Patience is non-negotiable. You need to be prepared for this modeling phase to take, realistically, maybe 6 months. Maybe even longer. It's a slow burn.
Okay, 6 months is a long time if you're really worried. What if you feel like you've done the modeling or the situation feels more urgent?
Right. If modeling alone isn't enough or isn't fast enough given the circumstances, then we move into a more, let's say, advanced technique. It's a framework we call the ABC loop. It pulls together several evidence-based approaches into a kind of 3-step strategy for active influence.
Okay, ABC loop. But before we even get to A, you mentioned some prep work is important. Something about 5 whys.
Yes, exactly. This is crucial for you, the person wanting the change. Before you even think about talking to them, use the 5 whys. It's a technique, actually borrowed from Toyota's problem-solving methods. You ask yourself, why does this behavior bother me? And then you ask why to your own answer about 5 times.
Okay, give me an example. Like the wife worried about her husband's health.
Right. So, why does his health bother me? Because I'm scared he'll have a heart attack. Why does that scare me? Because I don't want to lose him. Why don't I want to lose him? Because I love him and can't imagine life without him. You see how quickly it gets to the core fear? Often it reveals that your anxiety and your need for control over the outcome are driving the pressure.
That's powerful. So doing that first helps you approach the actual conversation with less judgment and more genuine compassion.
Precisely. You shift from he needs to fix this to I'm scared and I want to connect with him about this. It grounds you.
Okay, so you've done your 5 whys. You're feeling more compassionate. Now for step A of the ABC loop.
Step A is apologize, then ask open-ended questions.
Apologize first.
Yes. Sincerely apologize for any past pressure or judgment. Look, I realize I've been pushing you about X, and I'm really sorry for how I've handled that. It disarms them immediately. Then you shift into asking genuinely open-ended questions. This draws heavily on a technique called motivational interviewing.
Motivational interviewing.
Yeah.
What's the goal there?
The goal is to help them explore their own feelings and thoughts about the issue. You're not telling, you're asking. Questions like, how are you feeling about your health these days? Or what are your thoughts, if any, about making some changes? Or what gets in the way when you think about doing X?
So, no, why don't you just question?
Definitely not. Those are closed and often sound judgmental. Open questions get them talking, thinking, and maybe starting to feel that internal tension themselves, the gap between where they are and where they might want to be. There's a great insight here from Dr. Ablon. Often people don't change not because they lack motivation, but because they lack capacity. They don't feel they can succeed.
So asking questions might uncover those hidden barriers, like maybe they're afraid of failing at the gym or they don't know how to budget.
Exactly. And that shifts everything. Suddenly it's not about willpower. It's about needing skills, support, or confidence, which is a much more solvable problem.
Okay, step A. Apologize, ask open questions. Then what? Step B.
Step B requires maybe even more patience than modeling.
Back off.
Observe their behavior.
Back off. After I just opened the conversation.
Yes, you've planted the seed. You've apologized. You've asked them to reflect. Now you need to give them space. Stop all pressure completely. They need time to kind of marinate in that conversation, to process the thoughts and feelings you help them uncover. That internal tension needs time to build into their own motivation.
While I'm backing off, do I stop modeling?
No, absolutely. Keep modeling. Keep showing them the positive side of the change. Make it look appealing, but without any pressure directed at them. Just live your life. Let them observe. Give it time, weeks, maybe months.
Okay, back off, observe, keep modeling. Got it. Now, step C.
Step C is where you reinforce any positive movement. It's celebrate progress while you continue to model change.
Celebrate. Like, throw a party.
Maybe not a full party, but acknowledge any small step forward. Seriously, anything. Dr. Sherritt's research again shows that immediate positive reinforcement is a huge driver of intrinsic motivation.
So, if the husband finally does go for that walk, or maybe just researches gym memberships online.
Yes. You immediately offer genuine positive feedback, a hug, a sincere compliment like, wow, that's great, or hey, you look good, or even just, I'm really proud of you for trying that.
Why is that so effective?
Because it connects the effort, which might still feel hard for them, with an immediate pleasurable reward, your positive attention, your approval, feeling good. Remember the pleasure principle. You're basically hacking it. You're helping their brain associate the new difficult behavior with feeling good. It uses neuroscience to help lock in the change.
Okay, so the whole ABC loop. Apologize and ask, back off and observe, celebrate and continue modeling. It's a cycle.
It can be, yeah, you might need to revisit parts of it, but the core idea is shifting from pressure to this more patient, influential approach.
So stepping back and looking at the big picture, the fundamental change is really in us, the person wanting the change in someone else. It's about accepting the reality of how change works. Stop fighting human nature, let them. And instead, focus on what we can control. Our own actions, our modeling, our approach to communication. Let me.
Exactly. You immediately reduce the friction in the relationship, which is a win in itself. And you create the conditions where their internal motivation can actually surface.
Yeah.
By making it feel like their choice, their idea, you give them back that sense of agency they were fighting to protect all along.
It feels like a much healthier, more respectful way to navigate these difficult situations.
It is. But we also need to include the final thought that our sources point towards. It's a bit provocative, maybe.
Okay, what is it?
If you genuinely back off the pressure, if you consistently model the positive behavior, if you apply this ABC approach with compassion, and you give it significant time, say 6 months or more, and there is still absolutely zero movement, zero positive change in the other person, then the focus has to come back fully to the only behavior you truly control, your own choices. At that point, the source material suggests you need to seriously ask yourself, is this lack of change, this ongoing behavior, a deal breaker for me in this relationship?
Wow. So it circles back to your own agency.
Ultimately, yes, because the power to decide whether you can live with the situation or whether you need to make a different choice for your own well-being, that power always resides